join us on a Zoom meeting telling us more about this fibroid. Now, before she joins us, I want to quickly point out the symptoms of this fibroid. Now, basically, one of the major symptoms of this fibroid could be heavy bleeding, excessive bleeding. Now, during your menstruation, when you're having your menstrual flow, you notice that you are having excessive bleeding than the usual one. Of course, they still come out, you still bleed during menstruation, but if the flow is quite heavy from or heavier than the one you've been having over time, then you need to see a doctor. And then another symptom could be delayed menstruation. If your cycle is like 28 days and you notice your cycle has increased to like 30 days, 31, some persons 35, and it's not normal, whatever it is you experience during your menstruation, and it happens the next month and it is not normal, and you notice the another month, subsequent month, and it is not normal, then you need to go and see a doctor. Another symptoms could be pains in the pelvic. This feels like one of the major symptoms of fibroid. When you start having pains in your pelvic, then you need to see your doctor. Some persons prefer herbal treatment. So you move from one bus stop or wherever is busy, you hear some persons using public address system to say, come and take this herbal medicine. It will dissolve the fibroid. It will give you manpower. One medication is going to take care of everything. Well, I don't know if that works for you, but then medically it is advisable you go to your doctor, so they give you the best administration, they give you the best advice. And then sometimes if the growth is a major one, you might just have to go for a surgery. They can take it off. Now, it is possible that you can have this fibroid and you still be pregnant. So what happens is, if you're going for a CS, you can just tell your doctor, please help me take this off too, all right? And you'll be fine. So there's nothing to worry yourself about. And then, whoa, let me shock you. Do you know that there are some persons that don't even have symptoms at all? Yes. You can have fibroid and you don't have delayed menstruation, you don't have a heavy flow, you don't have no pains in your pelvic. You are just normal, but then there's a growth going on in your body. So it is also advisable that you go for a checkup, medical checkup. Some persons, we prefer there's something to say, prevention is better than cure. We prefer the cure to the prevention. So you're waiting for when you can no longer breathe or carry your hands or talk, and then that's when you run to the hospital and you seek for medical advice. But then you could be this strong and you just drive yourself down to the hospital, or you walk yourself to the doctor and say, okay, I want to run a checkup on myself. I want to know what's wrong with me. It could be quarterly, and then you could just do it maybe like twice in a year. That's not bad, right? So let's place a call to Dr. Gladys on Zoom, and let's hear what she has to say about this fibroid as a medical doctor. Hello, Dr. Gladys. Welcome to the show. This is Vital Health on Spectrum Television. We are so glad to have you join us today on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
So quickly, Dr. Gladys, we will be talking about fibroids and its effect on women in the society. So first of all, we would like to know, what are the effects of this fibroid? Like, what does fibroid do to the woman's system generally?
Well, when we talk about fibroid, of course, we know that it is specific to, and that's why it's a topic that is very important. Fibroid does a couple of things to the body, but the main thing is one has to understand how it can cancerous. I like to put that there. People are scared when you tell them you have fibroid, they're already worried that maybe they're having a cancer or something. So fibroids are excessive growth of tissue in the woman's uterus that is non-cancerous in nature.
Okay.
So when this happens, when the body tissue begins beyond normal, you start having a growth in your uterus to be there. And this growth is part of it can be in and the result of it. So let's say a fibroid is located just in opening of the fallopian gland. If a fibroid is just in the opening of the fallopian tube, based on a woman might not be able to take in. Do you understand?
All right.
1, 2. So if it's located, let's say in the cervix, in the opening of the womb, that's where the sperm swim into. It's possible that the woman will. So the location of the fibroid can be the reason why the woman will have infertility. Another one is the size of the fibroid. So if a woman is having fibroid that is just little size and it's just maybe in the outer wall of the uterus, the woman might not even have any symptom, but a fibroid causes a problem. So let's say a person has a giant fibroid. It means that it's occupying the womb and the woman might not get 1, 2. Fibroids are also caused or triggered by some hormones in the body. So the changes of that hormones in the body can also affect the woman from also getting pregnant. And even when the egg fertilizes, the implantation might be affected. Another thing I would like to say that fibroid does is that if the fibroid is in the outermost part of the if it is just compressed on the woman's inner organs, like the bladder, the rectum, so the woman can start having urinary incontinence, maybe having problem with urination, problem with defecation, maybe constipation and all of that. So most of the time, the first problem that a woman with a giant fibroid or an outstanding fibroid will have is the hormonal changes, which will lead to excessive bleeding. Maybe a woman is having her normal period, it can become too much for her. Yes, so you're having dysmenorrhea, full menstruation, or you may have menorrhagia, which is the same thing as too much blood coming out during your menstruation. So the woman becomes anemic and would even need transfusion. So fibroid is an outstanding thing, and lots of women are having it now. And that is what is causing a lot of problem with infertility these days.
All right, Dr. Gladys, thank you so very much. Now, we would like to know, now, what happens to the body, what happens to the woman if this fibroid is actually untreated? You know, there are some persons that don't really take care of themselves. And then for those ones that do not come with symptoms, you know, what happens to the body if you just ignore the presence of fibroid in your system as a woman?
Okay. Just to point out, fibroids cannot be detected through any form of laboratory tests. How you would know that a woman have fibroid is the complaint she will come to the hospital with. Most people don't even know they have fibroid. All through their life, they would not even know they have fibroid until they show up to the hospital. Most times, it is in the hospital that they know. So you see a woman coming to the hospital and the first complaint, she's coming in, I'm bleeding so much, I've been bleeding for the past 1 week, 2 weeks, do you understand? And you start asking questions. That is why it's very important when a person or a woman goes to the hospital, be patient enough to listen to your doctor's questions and answer them correctly. Some women become scared. Because they are scared, they refuse to tell you the actual truth about their health. Those questions that doctors ask is not a waste of your time. It actually helps them to detect what is wrong with you. So a woman coming in with bleeding for 2 weeks, so her period has been flowing for 2 weeks heavily, the first thing the doctor will ask, the second thing, before you know, the doctor will send her for a scan. So it's actually the first way to detect if it is a giant fibroid, a fibroid that is palpable, you can touch it, is when you're doing physical examination. So after asking all those questions, the question tallies with what you're having in mind. You put the patient on bed and then you examine with your hands. If it is a fibroid that is it's already grown and you can palpate it, you would touch it. Okay? The consistency, the hardness, and the location can tell you that, okay, maybe she's having a fibroid. So it gives you an initial diagnosis that you're working with. The next thing is to send her for a scan. It is a scan that will now tell you that this woman is having a fibroid, the location of the fibroid, how big is the fibroid, and where, what is it doing to the body. Do you understand? That's what the scan does. So a woman would know through, so the first thing I'll say is if you're having difficulty, maybe urinating, pain in the lower abdomen, you're having pain in the lower abdomen, or you're bleeding excessively during your period, you should see a doctor.
All right, Dr. Gladys, thank you so much. Now, recently, I just had a conversation with this woman, and she said she was bleeding excessively. Of course, she said she was bleeding for more than 2 weeks or thereabout, and that got me very scared. And I was bothered, so I asked, is it because of fibroid? Could it be fibroid? And she said no, that she is on family planning, and that could be the cause of the bleeding. So please, is bleeding the only symptoms of fibroid, or should we look out for other things? What are like the causes of this fibroid and the symptoms too that we should look out for?
Oh no, fibroid is not the only reason why you can have excessive bleeding. It can be one of the reasons. Yeah, for a woman in her reproductive age, as a woman that is in her reproductive age means a woman that is capable of getting pregnant, right? Up to 18 and above. All right. So this particular woman, when she talks to you about her complaints, you would be able to tell what type of test she needs to do. Now, it's not only fibroid that can cause you to bleed. There are many different other things that can make you bleed. For example, a woman that is miscarrying can be bleeding, but it will not be the same length of days. Do you understand? Okay, 1, 2, a woman that is having dysfunctional uterine bleeding, it might not even be fibroid, it might be any other hormonal changes. So it's not only fibroid. You have your thoughts, you have your suspicion. If you've done your test, you didn't touch any mass, no mass, nothing there during your examination, you will still send a woman for scan to rule out what the problem might be. If the scan comes back and is not fibroid, then you think about in another line, think about another thing. Do you understand? But when there is a bleeding, there is a group of diagnosis that comes to the doctor's mind. And that is how he begins to ask the questions. If the question tallies, you get the results.
Oh wow, thank you so much, Dr. Gladys. We also want to know, they say prevention is better than cure, right? So I would like to know, are there any other ways that a woman can actually prevent these fibroids from happening, or they are very natural and there's nothing anybody can do about it?
Well, frankly, I would say they are very natural in nature. But I'll also say that for a woman age wants to have a child, you're let's say 25, you're getting married, whatever the case may be, it is important that a woman should run a general checkup on herself. That would be my advice. That would be a preventive measure. Since you cannot take a drug or a tablet that would make you not have fibroid, what you can do, you can go to the hospital, check your hormone level, check your hormone balance. Is everything okay? Once in a year, do a general checkup, do a scan. I don't think, no matter how expensive the labs are or around, the highest you would do a scan for would be maybe 6,000 to 8,000. In a year, check your womb, ensure everything is going well. If it is not, if they tell you you have fibroid, don't be scared. Okay, you can be scared. Let me not say don't be scared. You can be scared, but don't be scared enough that you run away from the truth. Because if you have fibroid, it will not disappear because you decided to run away from it. It keeps growing. It keeps increasing in size. Okay? There are people that are even doing native treatments. People have messed up their self. Some people have had kidney failures because of too much herbal treatment for fibroid. Drink something that can dissolve the fibroid. Well, medically, I don't know anything like that. Do you understand? There's some drugs that can be given depending on what and how to manage it. But a typical grown fibroid is only managed surgically. You're a woman, you get married and you realize you have fibroid and it is big and it's closing your womb or is causing any form of infertility, go in for surgery. Most times the surgery, in fact, 90% of the surgeries are successful. So go to a hospital, do your surgery and come out, wait for a year or more, according to your doctor's discretion, get pregnant and move on with your life.
Okay, that's
Another thing that helps, if you have a fibroid and you just got married and it's a little fibroid, you've done the test and the doctor says, oh, it's not so big. Pregnancy actually shrinks fibroid. Yes, but there are also effects to it. So the measure you try to take depends on where, but ensure that it is a doctor that is directing you.
So what are the effects of this fibroid on pregnancy? Can a woman be pregnant and still have fibroid?
Like I said, it is a natural phenomenon. You are pregnant, you came to the hospital because you're pregnant, and we realize that your pregnancy is growing with fibroid. I've actually seen people that come in and they're in so much distress and pain because of the degeneration going on. Some of them lose the baby, but that is in a minimal rate. Yes. So the fibroid grows and overshadows the child. But in most cases, if the fibroid is little, after some time, as the baby grows, the fibroid inflates. Do you understand? Yes. And some babies, they grow in the womb with the fibroid. Nobody they agree. So it's like one person has to win the battle. So most of the time, the babies are okay. As long as the fibroid is located in a position that does not affect childbirth. And even if the fibroid is located in the mouth of the womb, when it's time to deliver, just go for your CS. Open up and bring out your baby. If you have a fibroid growing while you're going in for your CS and you want to take it out, tell your doctor, I want to do my CS. As you take out my baby, please take out the fibroid. So pay your money and do you understand? That's why I used to encourage women. When you're about to go into childbearing, have money, save your money so that no matter what comes up, you can always augment the bill.
All right. So for women that are in the rural areas and they complain a lot about finances, they do not have money, I don't have a child to take care of me, I don't have money for surgery. What do you think could be another solution aside from surgery in taking out this fibroid? Is there any other solution, or can they go ahead with their herbal treatment and just be fine?
Well, the truth is, if I were to say I know, I'll be lying. I do not know any other way fibroid can be treated, but I know that there are people out there taking medication to dissolve fibroid, and maybe it works for them. I can't encourage that because I don't know what effects it might have on the other person. So what I would say is, I think the government just have to maybe have a subsidized rate of surgery, or people should look out for those things, because sometimes there are times in the hospital when they have subsidized surgeries and people come in and do surgeries for free or at a cheaper rate. Yeah. So for women who don't have money, I don't know, they would need to find ways they can help themselves.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Gladys, for joining us today on Vital Health. Thank you so much. It was good to have you. Do have a lovely evening.
Well, first of all, I'm excited I was here today. say thank you to everyone out there. But my advice would be, even though there is fibroid out there is always a solution to everything. Try to visit the hospital, especially when you're pregnant, when you get married or about to get married. Listen, hear the advice of your doctor. Try as much as possible to eat healthy. No one knows. Maybe the things we eat too predispose us to these things. So I would say eat healthy, keep fit, exercise,
Oh.
and also allow yourself, yes, exercise, and also allow yourself to enjoy life. That's what I like to say to ladies generally. Make money, oh. Make money so that when your husband needs your help medically for your sake, because a lot of women are suffering. They come to the hospital. If the surgery is 80,000 and your husband has 50 and you have 30, it makes it easier rather than just waiting for the man to do all the work. Thank you.
And there you go.